Now, this Natalie Holloway thing never ends. You know, let me just set it up. We don't cover this thing very much. But now there are dueling tapes. There's a tape that appeared on the Dr. Phil show, I understand, and there's another tape the Aruban police have. Now, are the Aruban police accusing Dr. Phil of doing something untoward?
Yes. I mean, the short answer is yes. But let me explain why this is significant. When they released Joran van der Sloot and the two Kalpo boys from custody, and we were outraged. Why were we outraged? We were outraged because by Deepak Kalpo's own admission on that tape, supposedly, he admitted that he, his brother, and Joran, the young Dutch boy, had all had sex with Natalie as she phased in and out of consciousness. Now, you can't have sex with someone when they don't have the ability to give legal consent. That is rape. So we were outraged. Even if they didn't murder her, they were guilty of raping her. And we had the tape, this Jamie Skeeter's tape, this private investigator hired by the Dr. Phil show to prove it. In the tape, he says, she had sex with all of you. She did. You'd be surprised how surprised it was that night. But in the tape that the Dutch authorities had.
Well, let's play the Dutch authority. All right. So let me set this up. In the tape Dr. Phil ran, this guy Kalpo says we all had sex with her. Roll the Aruban tape.
Nobody told her that she can't. You know, I mean, and I'm sure she had sex with all of you. And good. She did. Okay, well, I mean, good. If she did, don't be surprised how simple it was.
So in that tape, she says it's hard to hear. She did. She all had sex with all of you. She did in the Dr. Phil tape. The Dutch tape, however, if you listen closely, and according to them, she says the answer is no, she didn't. In other words, the no is clipped off and the isn't is clipped off. So she didn't is converted to she did.
The Aruban police say that the Kalpo tape
Gerald Dompeg, the chief investigator, told me man to man on the telephone last week, just before like the 23rd of November, he told me on the phone that they have the original tapes, that the FBI also has a copy, and he swore to me that those tapes have been altered. Now, who would alter them? Jamie Skeeter's, the private eye, claims that the tapes are unaltered. So who would that leave to alter the tapes?
Well, maybe Skeeter sold the tapes to Dr. Phil, and it's a better story if he doctors them, correct? Maybe, I'm saying.
I think that that the producers of the Dr. Phil show now are looking at each other and saying, hey, who did what to that tape, if anything? If the Aruban authorities are telling the truth, now that's a big if, remember. With all due respect to Aruba, this investigation has been marred by incompetence and maybe even cover-up. But would they lie to us when the FBI has the original tapes in their possession? I tend to think not. They're not that brazen.
All right.
If the FBI tapes are different than the Dr. Phil tapes.
Let me recap this if people aren't familiar. The Aruban police say the Kalpo boy said we didn't have sex with her.
Right.
The Dr. Phil tape says we did. The accusation from the Aruban government is the Dr. Phil tape was altered.
Precisely.
Cut. And if that's true...
If that's true, it's a very big media story.
Right.
It may not be a criminal fraud, but it is certainly a huge embarrassment if it is so.
All right. Well, we'll continue to cover him. Geraldo Rivera, watch the show Geraldo at Large, syndicated across the country. Thanks for coming in.